Fort Island is one of the many islands that lie at the mouth of the Essequibo River. It holds some of the most prolific and well-preserved pieces of Dutch history in Guyana. The most well-known one is Fort Zeelandia. However, there is another landmark that holds great significant importance to our history, the Court of Policy. In this special feature, we take a look at the history of Fort Island. Accompanied by our tour guide Frank Singh, the DPI team journeyed to Fort Island to get a sense of the history and an insight into the lives of the roughly 40 villagers who inhabit the ancient island. From the time of docking to departure, there was a sense of calm amidst an inexplicable feeling of spiritual connection felt not only by me but others on the team. The villagers seemed at peace during our visit, and many simply went about their regular chores while only taking a glimpse of our cameras. The visit was a welcomed distraction from the busy city life. Formerly known as Flag Island, Fort Island is located some 16 kilometers from the mouth of the Essequibo River and was once the capital of the colonies of Essequibo and Demerara during the 16th and 17th centuries. Fort Zeelandia was built in the 16th century by the Dutch to act as a military base to protect the interests of Fort Kijk overall. It is boasted as being the best preserved built evidence of Dutch settlement in Guyana. According to historical records, by 1616 the Dutch trading post moved more inland from Fort Nova Zeelandia in the Pomeroon to Fort Kijk overall, which when translated to English means sea overall. Kijk overall was chosen because of its ability to overlook the three rivers, Essequibo, Mazaruni, and Cuyuni. By the end of the 16th century, the Dutch presence in the Essequibo region grew significantly, and trade increased between them and the indigenous peoples.
They had like 200 soldiers here, Dutch soldiers, and they were in the fort. So they actually brought these bricks from Holland, leave them here to build the structures, and they used to use the bricks as a balance in the ships. So in return now, they used to take the sugarcane juice in barrels back to Holland. So that's how the structure was built here. So for Zeelandia now, the structure here was to protect the interest again. And then they had a walkway where the ships used to come and land, and then that's where the people used them as a on and off. So that was the only landing site they had in those days.
In the early 16th century, the colonization by the Dutch was characterized by a unique relationship with the indigenous peoples of Guyana. The Dutch, cautious of hostilities and in self-interest, assured the indigenous peoples that they would never be enslaved. For their part, the indigenous peoples during the earlier phase of settlement and colonization provided food for the Dutchmen, constructed dwellings, and provided furniture and goods. Another landmark on Fort Island which holds significant historical importance is the Dutch Heritage Museum, formerly known as the Court of Policy. The solid brick structure is approximately 103 feet long and 36 feet wide. It is bounded by walls that are approximately 24 inches thick. It was in this central hall that criminals were once put to death. The building has 3 chambers, one which housed the Court of Policy and Justice, where members of the government met, and another which served as a church. It is the oldest surviving church building in Guyana. The northern chamber held the proceedings of the Court of Policy, while the southern room, the consistory, acted as the prison. The consistory was later adapted as a venue or auction office, primarily for the sale of slaves. This building also had a more sinister function. Right here, slaves were executed.
They had a guillotine at the back, so it's like when the court sentenced you to death, they will put you down at the back. So it was a building that accommodated all these sectors, and it was actually this building used to rule the entire Essequibo coast. And the Fort Island, as we know before, it went out to Demerara. So after this policy, and the Dutch and the English were fighting each other, the Dutch gave up when the English took over. So that's how Demerara was created after Essequibo.
The museum, which provides a meaningful contribution to the country's cultural heritage sector, was opened on February 19, 2007 by the National Trust of Guyana. In its collections are a number of artifacts unearthed from the colonies of Essequibo, Berbice, and Demerara.
The tombs on the ground here behind me, it is tombs from one of the commissioner that used to commission the island, and a doctor and his son. They all died from malaria in those days, the 17th century they died.
The presence of the Dutch, who were once the colonizers of the Essequibo, Berbice, and Demerara colonies, is mostly evident in what they left behind. This ranges from their names, plantation titles, and notably their structures, whether it's their forts, cokers, or tombs. This brings us to the end of this special feature on Fort Island. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.